public forum.
So I just wanted to provide the board a brief update. At the last meeting, the board asked me to have our HR department look into some comments that were made by a Tourism Development Council member at the last meeting in May. Mr. Cook has taken a look at that issue. He has interviewed staff that was there, the reporter that the comment was directed to, the person who made the comment. He has also listened to the tape. He's had outside legal counsel listen to the tape as well, just to get their opinion. And his recommendation and feedback to me is that this was meant in a lighthearted, joking manner. There were several other comments made similar to that around that time, and that his assessment and the outside legal counsel agreed is that there's nothing actionable for this board to consider from this incident at this point in time.
Thank you, Mr. Schebler. Yes, ma'am. Turn your microphone on, please.
Okay, I'm sorry. Am I right now? Okay. Pam Mitchell, 6616 Ravine Street in Milton. And I'm here to speak to this issue about Mr. Sanborn and the TDC. I delivered each of you packets on Friday. I hope that you've had time enough to go through them. There were quite lengthy, some of the email exchanges and all back and forth. I do understand that the comment that Mr. Sanborn made at the TDC budget meeting probably was made lightheartedly and in jest, and probably isn't enough to ask for his removal from the TDC. That's why I'm here today. That's why I've provided you these packets. I have been attacked by Mr. Sanborn and his family on Facebook. There have been lies and slander posted about me personally.
Ma'am, I'm somewhat at a discretion as far as we should discuss somebody that's not here to defend themselves. I mean, I don't feel it's proper to do so.
No, sir. We're going to talk about it today.
Sat here since 9 o'clock.
We're going to talk about it today, Mr. Cole.
It's not right to speak about somebody if they're not present.
He had the opportunity.
For him to do the same
Well,
thing.
Mr. Cooley, you're not supposed to.
Mr. Sanborn had the same opportunity that I had to be here today. It's an open public meeting. I've waited my turn. I've been here actually since 8:30 this morning. I've been patient. I appreciate y'all's patience. I know you're tired, you're hungry, just like me.
Up that you don't talk about people unless they're present.
Mr.
That's
Sanborn sure
fine.
talked a lot about me when I wasn't present. Can I continue? Okay, thank you once again for hearing me. I don't want to be disrespectful. I've tried very hard not to be. That's why I provided you the information in the packets. Okay, I think if you will take your time and look at that, look at the video, that will speak for itself. Just today, as I sat in this meeting, there were more comments that I saw that Mr. and Mrs. Sanborn have posted about my volunteers that work with me about City of Milton business. It's not professional, it's inappropriate, it's not the kind of person that we should have representing our county. I'm going to quit about the comments right now, but I'm going to move on to something that Mr. Sanborn has been a very vocal supporter of, and that's term limits. You can look at anything that he's posted online, what he's spoken at different forums. He is a big believer in term limits. 12 is enough is the name of their program. Okay, well, he's been with y'all almost 20 years. He ought to just take a good dose of his own medicine and step down without y'all having to act on him, okay? But he hasn't. But my opinion is what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If it's good enough for 12 years to be long enough for anybody in public office, it ought to be the same accountability for Mr. Sanborn and the Tourism Development Council. Thank you for your time. I do have some signatures, a petition that I'd like to give to Mr. Schlepper. One more comment about those petitions. We would have had a lot more signatures. I had so many people say, I'm afraid to speak out against Jack Sanborn because of what he does to people on Facebook.
Amen.
And so I'll scan and provide copies to the board of these and also to the clerk's office.
Wallace Mahout, 5500 Cox Road, Milton, Florida. I have also been probably mostly attacked by Mr. Sanborn's wife when all I did was offer some information at a city council meeting. I wasn't for or against anything. I just presented some facts that I had heard at a county commission meeting. And so then the attacks went on and on and on. I do still have those. I have the eloquent verbiage of Katie Marie Sanborn. In my opinion, if you do not agree with their position in the city, you're called a deplorable. That is what you are branded. And I can understand why people would not want to voice their opinion against this man. This is the public forum. If people have concerns about how they've been treated by someone who is representing the county on a board, they should be able to voice their grievances. And I do believe that at the last TDC meeting, Mr. Sanborn was wanting to perhaps have control over the say of the review of the tourist development director. That falls to you, gentlemen. I have seen what this man has done in the city government. And I have been attacked, but as you know, I can defend myself. All I did was present information. Another person on that same thread just asked a question and was attacked by a number of people in the city. So when you have this kind of, I would say, mafioso-like handling of situations, scaring people, threatening people, people have lost their jobs that had been with the city for quite some time. People are now afraid of losing their jobs. So I don't think this is a good thing. I don't think this is a good individual to have on a tourist development board. So I would ask that you take a look at all the information that has been presented to you about this individual's actions. I'm sure you read the newspapers. You're aware of what has gone on with this individual in the city, and now it seems to be filtering into the tourist development area of our government. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Jerry Cooey, 6049 Arnish Way. Employees of the county, board members of the county, everybody associated with this county are a direct reflection upon you, because you guys are the face of the county. I don't mind a good political wrestling match, been in many. I consider, Commissioner Salter and I have been in some good ones, all right? But there's still a level of respect there. He didn't call my mama names, and I didn't call his mama any names. But it's become a problem with this individual. If you're not aware, this individual made a public records request so that he could get the names and addresses of everyone that suggested that he not be on the TDC anymore. And he has used that list to carry on with the harassment as has been described this morning. I'm fortunate because apparently I've been blocked from having to read any of the trash that gets written anymore. But I feel for other people who are not like me, that aren't willing to stand up to that kind of stuff. Me personally, I'm just not going to put up with it. We can have a discussion about a tourist development matter or any other thing, but it's the level of personal that this has become. Flat out threats on Facebook. I don't have it in writing in front of me, but one that came from the Sanborn family was, "You need to stop this right now. Consider this a warning," all put in capital letters. All right? That's not the kind of person that I think should be representing Santa Rosa County. I would hope that the Board of County Commissioners would think about that for a minute. Because I will tell you, those types of actions are going to reflect on the 5 of you and those that allow a person like that to continue to be there. This is not the first event. You would think that after Kyle Hawley called him down on it, and you would think that after the reporter that the comment was made about called him down on it, there would be a moment of self-reflection, but there wasn't. There was, who can I retaliate against who thinks I should not have this job? And I'll tell the 5 of you that it's still the America that I love, and we all have freedom of speech, and this individual is welcome to his opinion. However, as a representative of Santa Rosa County, I think there are some limits to that. There's a great discussion over First Amendment rights. Your employer determines your First Amendment rights. And in a sense, he's an employee of Santa Rosa County. And this kind of behavior needs to be reeled in, and I think this individual has proven over and over, even today, is still assaulting people over the fact that an opinion has been expressed about his behavior. I think it's ridiculous. It's not professional. And one other thing that I would like to bring up too, let's look at the revenues that come from the tourist development dollars. Over 85% of them come from the south end of the county, hotels and things of that nature. The makeup of the board right now, there's more members from the north end of the county than there are from the south end of the county. And I do my best not to get out of the feud from the north and the south, but in that one, I have a tendency to agree. I think maybe you should have a little more representation from the south. But back to this individual, this is a reflection on the 5 of you. I think you need to look at the material that's been put in front of you. I think there'll be more material put in front of you today. I can almost assure you that I'm being yelled at right now on Facebook. As soon as I look at it, somebody will send me a message because that individual is watching right now and will assault me again. And I welcome that. It's America. I'll take care of myself. But the reflection to Santa Rosa County is not a good one. It's made the newspapers. It's made the news cycle. It's covered up in social media. And the 5 of you aren't looking really good over this right now. And when I leave from here, I'm going to go have a conversation with Mr. Cook, because personally I think what was said was out of line. I won't take the position that Pam took. I believe it was out of line. In 2018, we as men need not to proclaim things like that, even in jest. It's not right. You wouldn't want your wife talked to that way. You wouldn't want your daughter talked to that way. That's something that you need to think about. A lot of the good guys in the world now are catching the rap for the bad players, and I'm kind of tired of it. I show respect to women. I show respect to my wife. I open doors for the ladies of the world. This kind of stuff makes us all look bad, and I'm upset about it, that it's not, I won't say that you don't view it as important, but I don't think you understand the effect that it's having countywide on the image of the 5 county commissioners. We have an opportunity to do better than that, and I hope we will. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. All right. Anything else from staff or other board members?
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner?
Yeah, I had asked and had purposely left out the individual's name when I asked staff to review the incident and what had happened, because I have been relentlessly attacked by this individual, and I did not want it to be perceived as somehow a ulterior motive involved. But of course, his surrogates in the Navarre press still picked up on that and decided to write that it was just a big ploy anyway. I've heard words, and I want to thank you, Ms. Mitchell, and those of you that have waited for 5+ hours to share your thoughts on something today that is obviously very troubling to you, and that it was important enough for you to stick around to share your thoughts. I've heard words like scared, attacked, threatening, afraid, assault. Those are not the words that I think that we need to be associating with a position in the county of any kind, but one that this one here, it's a volunteer position that is a reflection on the county of this board, and this is not an isolated incident. This may be one that finally reached the level that folks thought to bring it forward, but in the last year, there have been quite a number of incidents that have really shined a light on tourism in a way that was not favorable, and this gentleman has been associated with each and every one of those. I just don't know why at this point we wouldn't eliminate that problem. And as I said, it's a volunteer advisory council. All things being equal, we have a very talented group of leaders that are involved with tourism throughout the county. I'm sure that there are other folks that would be ready, willing, and able to serve, that could step forward and serve on the Tourism Advisory Council, that could provide good guidance and advice from the City of Milton and from the central Santa Rosa County area to replace Mr. Sanborn. And I think that we should thank him for his service, and we should ask him to step aside, and we should put somebody else in there before we end up with a situation that isn't just kind of crossing the line. That's my personal feelings on that. And I think that we should strongly consider making that step.
Mr. Chairman, I completely agree with what Commissioner Williamson said. I've lived in this county most of my life. I've worked as a commissioner for many, many years. I'm very proud of this county and the reputation it has. And anyone who disrespects the county or the people who live here, I will be strongly opposed. I've already had a partial conversation with the county attorney on what would it take to remove any appointed member who does not represent the county as we would like to see it represented, and it is our responsibility to make sure they do that. Pam, I haven't gone through all your information yet, but I plan on doing so in the next day or two. And if we need to take action on Thursday on removing this gentleman because of his lack of respect for citizens of this county, I'm prepared to do so. Thank you.
I would be prepared
Well
to.
said, Mr. Commissioner Salter. I agree with you. Pam, thank you for the information. I did go through it, and it opened my eyes to a few things, so appreciate your words.
Then I would make a motion that we add this item to Thursday's agenda to recommend the approval, the removal of Jack Sanborn from the Tourist Development Council. I would make that motion without objection.
Hearing none, passes.
Be on the regular agenda.
I'll add that to the regular agenda.
Anything else come before the board?
Wallace Mahout, 5500 Cox Road, Milton, Florida. I owe a sincere and heartfelt apology to Mr. Sam Parker. I posted something on Facebook that I truly thought I heard that you had said, and it was brought to my attention that that was not correct. You do have my sincere apology, Sam. I'm very sorry. Thank you.
Okay, that we're adjourned.